If you sit for work, then you need these stretches that I'm about to show you in this video. Specifically, I'm going to show you 4 stretches that target the common internal rotators, the hips, and the spine so that you can undo the damage of lots of sitting. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Minus the Gym. I'm Ryan, and you know I'm passionate about fitness and nutrition, and here in this video I want to show you guys how you can undo the damage of sitting, because if you don't know my background, I spent over a decade as a software engineer, so I know what lots of sitting, like 40 hours a week of sitting, can do to your body. And whether you sit at a computer and work at a desk all day like that, or maybe you sit in a car or a truck and do lots of driving for your job, no matter what it might be, lots of jobs require sitting. And even if you don't sit for your job, maybe you're like semi-active at your job, but you just do a lot of sitting for gaming or watching TV or things like that, hanging out with your friends, you can undo the damage of that sitting, and here's how. Now we're gonna switch to this kind of view where I'm in the corner so you can see what I'm doing here. This first stretch is what I want you to become most comfortable with if you do a lot of sitting. This is the half kneeling hip flexor stretch. Now what you want to do here is you want to get into a half kneeling position, meaning you're on one knee, but the other leg is in front of you and bent, almost like a lunge. The key here is you want to keep your torso upright and your gaze straight ahead as you sort of lean forward, right? Your hips should be driving forward as you lunge forward, and that front knee comes forward of the front leg as well. And what that's going to do is create a nice stretch in your hip flexor muscles, which are a muscle group that runs along the deep abdominals as well as the inner thigh. So on that side of your body that has the leg back, that is the side that you're stretching. So it's important that you switch sides and you do the stretch for both sides of your body. As you get more advanced and more comfortable with this stretch, you can deepen the stretch by raising the arm of the side with the leg back. Okay, raising the arm up is going to deepen the stretch because now you are further stretching the hip flexors, especially the ones in the deep abdomen. This is one of those stretches that is highly recommended by many people in fitness, and it's all over the place in exercise science, but it's for good reason, because nowadays we do way too much sitting, way too much hip flexion in the sitting position, and this is going to work against that. Now, when we sit, we also have a tendency to reach for things, right? Maybe you're reaching for a keyboard and mouse, or maybe a steering wheel, or whatever it might be. So a lot of that reaching is going to tighten your internal rotators. This stretch is a pec stretch, so it's going to open up your chest. And I love using a doorway for this, because doorways are everywhere. No matter if you're at work or at home, you have doorways. So you just put your arms up at about 90 degrees, depending on the width of the doorway you're using, and have your arms up on the door jamb. And then while keeping good posture, keep your hips, torso, and head in alignment, just go ahead and lean forward. Let your body, your straight body kind of gently come forward into the doorway. So you're opening up, you're coming in between the arms that are up at 90 degrees. And don't force this. Don't come out of the good posture to get deeper into the stretch. You want to just over time gradually sink deeper and deeper as you practice this. Another thing worth mentioning is it doesn't have to be a narrow doorway, like a standard 30-inch doorway or whatever. It can be a wide doorway, because even having wider than 90 degrees, having your arms more open, that's going to stretch your pecs in a different way. It's going to hit the pecs from a different angle, and that's totally fine. The third stretch I want to show you is a lat stretch, because the lats are also common internal rotators that can become really tight from too much sitting and reaching. So if you sit for work, you're probably going to feel that you need to stretch the lats. And if you try this by first finding a coffee table or some kind of low, this could be your couch or an ottoman, a bench, anything like that, a chair, and you want to extend your arms out in front of you, you want to have a neutral hand position, meaning thumbs pointing up and your palms facing each other. And what you want to do is you want to kind of drive the hips back to really lengthen the stretch, really lengthen those lats. And just let your head and torso slowly and gently sink down between your arms. The lower you can sink, the more you're going to sink into this stretch, the more you're going to deepen it. But also, a lot of people don't even realize that the lats are an internal rotator. So from doing a lot of sitting, you might not ever have known it, that your lats are tight. So approach this one carefully. A lot of people might get into it and realize, whoa, my lats are really tight. So again, over time, you're going to sink deeper and deeper into this stretch. Don't try to force it right off the bat. And now this fourth stretch is for your spine, all right, your spinal mobility, because when you sit a lot, you spend a lot of time in spinal flexion, kind of hunching forward, rounding that spine forward. Well, now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to put you into spinal extension. And one of my favorite ways of doing this is the Mackenzie press up. So you want to get face down on the floor and then put your hands right about chest level or so, right around your chest is fine. And you want to very slowly and carefully press into the floor, look upwards as you curl into spinal extension. You want to curl upwards one vertebrae at a time. Do this nice and slow. You don't want to do it quick because you could risk injury depending on how tight you are. So just very slowly until you start to feel some restriction, and then pause there. And that is going to be where you currently work at. And again, over time, gradually work on getting further and further, pressing up more and more into this position. Again, some of you who do a lot of sitting are probably going to feel that this is really uncomfortable, and that's perfectly fine. You don't want to feel any sharp pain, right? If you feel sharp pain, you want to come out of this and try a different spinal extension stretch. But as long as you don't feel any sharp pain, some discomfort, some mild discomfort is a good sign that this is going to benefit you. Now, if you feel some pain from the Mackenzie press up, or if you just have a Swiss ball available, then here's another stretch that I highly recommend. I actually like this one a little more than the Mackenzie press up, is simply just lay over a Swiss ball and really open up your whole anterior. So the hips, the arms out at your sides to open the chest, and your back is in spinal extension. This is a fantastic way to use a Swiss ball. But again, not everybody has this equipment at home, so I'm just mentioning this as a little bonus for those of you who do have a Swiss ball or you want to invest in one. And there you go. Those are the 4 stretches. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be asking, well, how many sets? How long should I hold these for? And that's always up for debate, right? It really depends on how much sitting you do and how tight you are. But let's say you sit pretty much all day at your job. You're in meetings or you're at a desk and it's like 40 hours a week or so. In that case, I'm going to recommend daily or near daily stretching. That's going to be the best. So if you're sitting daily 5 days a week and plus more on the weekends, then to work against that, you really need to be doing this regularly. So near daily, as much as you can, I would say 2 to 3 sets of each of these stretches for 30 seconds. And I know that's quite a commitment, but again, you have a lot of sitting to work against, right? A lot of sitting to undo. So you'll have to do a lot of stretching. Now, if you want to start from something more approachable and see what kind of benefits you get, then I would say 3 times a week, doing 3 sets of 30 seconds per stretch. So that's a more approachable, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of schedule. You can see some benefits from a schedule like that, definitely. But again, if you're doing a lot of sitting, like 40 hours a week, then doing this most days for 2 to 3 sets will give you the most benefit. All right, if you do a lot of sitting and you're gonna give these stretches a shot, make sure you hit that thumbs up button for me, and consider subscribing if you wanna stay tuned and learn more from me, all right? And with that said, I look forward to the next video. I'll see you then.